Inside the Beltway, joined by Chairman Mike Turner, representative from Ohio. He is the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Good morning, Congressman Turner. Welcome. It's great to have you. Your district is almost in Indiana, so you got lucky. You didn't have to become a Hoosier.
That's funny. Yeah, Hugh, I come from Dayton, Ohio, the great town that has Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in.
My uncle worked at Wright-Pat for 45 years. So you came from a great place. You represent a great place. But now you've got the House Intel Committee. This is one of the big ones. And so you just got back from Israel, Egypt, and Jordan. Can you give us some sense of what you learned from sitting down with President Sisi, King Abdullah II, and, of course, Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Sure. Well, this is our effort to return the intelligence community back to national security. I know it sounds like an amazing thing that you'd have to do that, but after the Adam Schiff leadership, where the committee was turned down a partisan lane, we've tried to return ourselves back to, how do we protect our country and advance national security? We went to the Middle East because obviously as a committee we're focused a lot on China and Russia, but we really wanted to look to what is happening, what is the United States doing, what are the threats that we currently see there in Jordan, Israel, and Egypt. Universally, every person we spoke to, they're starving for American leadership. They're wondering where the president is, why the administration is not taking an active role in leadership and peace in the region. They're not asking for military assistance. They're not asking for aid. They're asking for leadership, Hugh.
Chairman Turner, expand on that a little bit. What would the United States be doing in the Middle East if it were doing what President Trump did?
Well, having a position. Right now, all of these leaders, first off, in any conversation, mention the debacle, withdrawal from Afghanistan and what that meant as a message to the world about American leadership. Secondly, there are real issues that they're dealing with every day, and they just don't have anybody to call. They don't have anybody to talk to. They don't have anybody to support them, and the administration's not taking positions. They're just really leaving these nations, searching for leadership, which is why China is trying to make headway in the area. Whenever there's a vacuum, the United States loses, and authoritarian regimes try to step in.
Now, Senator Cotton told me once that when he was senator under President Obama, he would go to the Middle East, and the ruler that he would meet with would change the location so he could get away from the ambassador from Team Obama. He wanted to talk candidly with Americans' position of influence. Did you run into any of that where, Chairman Turner, let's just talk candidly about what's going on here?
We had plenty of opportunity for that. I don't think there was any sense they needed to get away from the people that they currently have that are in country, but they did get a sense that the people in country are isolated, that there was, unlike Obama, where perhaps, he was from top down imposing a worldview that was contrary to the United States, or a view that we were the aggressor. In this instance, I think the Biden administration is just leaving their people isolated.
One of your colleagues on the committee is Chairman Gallagher of the Select Committee, and he's on every week, and we give a lot of grief to each other. He didn't know anything about sports, but he's a pretty smart guy, and he's a Marine, so we got 3 syllables going. Tell me something about the talent on the Intel Committee, because I want people to understand. In the Senate, they're serious people. I believe that's the case now in the House with the exit of Adam Schiff.
Yeah, we have a great team, and this is, I had one member from the intelligence community who say, I looked at the resumes, everybody was there, and I thought, gosh, if we were going to hire a team to run the Intelligence Committee, this is the team that you'd want. And that's why we really have an opportunity to break from that partisanship of the past and actually serve national security. We have people who have military experience. We have people who have intelligence community experience. We have people who have foreign policy experience. This in-depth view and work, and even long-term congressional experience from the Armed Services Committee, the Foreign Affairs Committee. This convergence of people, no one's new to Congress who's on our committee. They're appointed by the Speaker and by the Minority Leader, both of which. Kevin McCarthy came before our committee as we convened this year with Hakeem Jeffries and said, we want you guys committed to national security and to bipartisanship. We're doing that. We got a great team, and I'll tell you, these people are working really hard.
Now, Chairman Turner, I believe that the Chinese Communist Party is the iceberg threat. We see the tip of it. We talk about TikTok. We talk about the Confucius Institutes, but we have no idea what they are doing to penetrate the American society and influence our operations. Am I right, or is the media right to not pay much attention?
No, this is our major threat. China implemented a surveillance society in China where they could monitor of their population through technology, through hacking, through implementing their ability to observe and surveil. And they're trying to export that. And even on this trip that we just took, they're even looking at how can they make certain the Chinese technology doesn't make its way in their telecommunication systems, how they can protect their data systems. What we see here, it's on multiple levels where China is threatening the United States. One is on conventional, they're expanding. For example, they're tripling their number of nuclear weapons to be pointed toward the United States. There's never been an expansion like this that we have seen in modern history in decades. Secondly, then with the export of technology and their attempts to penetrate our data systems, including espionage against American companies, and then of course their attempts at influence, where you see them even being so brazen as to open police stations throughout the world, and even in the United States, where we're openly operating, trying to undermine both people who are here who are Chinese nationals, people who are Americans, in ways in which China believes that it would advance their goals and objectives.
Now, Chairman Turner, when people watched The Americans, the series that won all the Emmys, they thought it was a trip in the Wayback Machine, and they fell through into the 80s, and that was the Cold War, and that was the bad old days. That's my first job in government 40 years ago, as the Special Assistant to the Attorney General for Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrants. And it was stunning, at the age of 26, to see how much espionage was going on in the United States. I don't have any clearances anymore. It's been years since I've had clearances, since 1989. But I think the level and extent of the CCP's operation in the United States far out expands the Soviets. Do you think I'm right about that?
Absolutely. The difference here is where you had to look for people who were coming into the United States. They are actually doing it all the way over there in Beijing. And you have even companies, federal government agencies, they report millions and millions of daily attacks in the cyber realm, in addition to than what the traditional espionage that you would have been familiar with. This cyber connectivity that we have represents an unbelievable opportunity for China, and certainly a threat to us.
So, Chairman Turner, does the Bureau get this? I know Director Wray is a serious man. I don't know him personally, but a lot of people who do have told me he's a very serious guy. He comes before your committee, and so does the head of NSA, and so does the head of DIA, and the head of the CIA, and the DNI. They all come before your committee. Do they have the right focus and executed purpose to forget the stuff that doesn't matter and focus on the main threat, focus and execute? Do you think they pivoted to that?
I think the CIA does. I think certainly Director Burns. I think the Office of Director of National Intelligence, certainly Admiral Haynes does. I think Director Wray is highly focused on the politicalization of the FBI, the weaponization of the FBI. I think he's more interested in watching Americans than he is Chinese that are trying to hurt our nation.
How do we change that? That's not acceptable.
Well, absolutely, and that is the main target and debate that is currently happening about the FBI in Congress. You said that they come before our committee. It's true. They all come before our committee, except for Director Wray. Last time before our committee, it was highly confrontational, both Democrats and Republicans, with everybody pointing their finger right at him and saying, "We don't see you. You don't hear from us. You are treating Congress as if we don't matter." Congress created the FBI. According to the Constitution, obviously, we have the subpoena power, which you're seeing now beginning to be asserted by the House against the FBI. We're going to have to see if Director Wray is going to recognize that, democracy happens in that Capitol building, and he reports to us.
We'll expand on that in our last minute, Chairman Turner. The FBI needs to focus on China. I mean, almost 90% on China, right? Am I right? That's our existential threat.
It's a threat to our country, but as you were describing, it's a threat within our country, and that's what needs to be ferreted out. Because Director Wray has not spent time up on Capitol Hill, I think he spent too much time with politicos and is trying to satisfy those on the left who believe that Americans are the greatest threat to America. They're not. He needs to focus on real threats.
Now, we do have domestic extremists. Obviously, the shooting in Texas was by a white supremacist. The shooting in Nashville was by a trans activist. We've got that. But, I mean, it's dwarfed by China. We got 30 seconds, Chairman Turner. What's the scale? Is it 100 to 1? Is it 1,000 to 1 in terms of relative threat?
It's certainly overwhelming, and that's the point. He needs to focus on the top priorities. Certainly we have threats, and he's focused on all of them, but the top priority is obviously China.
Chairman Mike Turner from Ohio, chair of the House Intel Committee. Thank you. Keep coming back. Good Buckeyes, common sense, running the Intel Committee. Keep that guy from Wisconsin away from the wheel. I'm telling you, Gallagher, not too sure about that. Stay tuned, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt.